Hello, everyone, and welcome to A Laugh and Learn about silence.
Hello.
I am joined by Hershe, the shadow reader. Hello, Hershe.
Hello.
Medium Betsy Palmer.
Hi, everybody. Aloha.
Hexa was unable to be here today from Tarot and Witchery, so we will have her back. I am Tarot Stash. Thank you for being here. And today we have this great topic. We're talking about silence. That being said, I want to be very clear. I am not an expert at silence. I don't know about my guest. Are either of you experts at silence? Okay.
Far from it.
Yes. Well, Hershe, you've got some good experience with silence, correct?
I do.
So, okay.
I do.
And this is for entertainment purposes only. Do not make decisions based upon what we say. Seek professional assistance, really. And we would like to we've got a series of questions and statements for us to look at and to help guide our conversation. So I would really encourage people who are watching to pop into chat. If you don't want to do that, that's cool. If you're watching the playback, thank you. Please check the description for links and different ways that you can show support to all of our channels. There's different ways to do that. So we have some of the best lurkers here, or the best chatters. Mosaic Insight, Jonathan Daly, Kaylee from Fogo Pogo, Sandy Johnson, Rossi. Yes, we are talking about silence.
Okay, who's having GI distress today? Holy mackerel. Holy cow. I have got from high stomach all the way up into my throat. It feels ooh, wow. Hello, I'm going to send you vibes. I don't know. Wow.
Okay. All right. Yes. Hi, Art Mancy. And Russ Barbara is here. Maruta is here. I was just waiting for an entire video of us sitting in silence, staring awkwardly at one another. So, and Hypnocity is here. So, and Joan Baker. So again, we're talking about silence. Yes, we're talking about silence.
We are talking about silence.
We're talking about silence, and that is what happens. Let's go around the room. I'm going to start with Hershe, the shadow reader. Hershe, will you tell everybody what you have coming up? She has to look at a calendar.
I turned my phone off so it'd be silent.
Me too. Hi, everybody. What do I have coming up? Tomorrow I'm going to do a test run in shadow work. Tomorrow we will be back for shadow reads. So tomorrow at 8 o'clock I have something special. And then I'm back with Gerald on Friday, and then nothing until meta messages. I've got a couple of privates, but other than that, I am available if I'm needed.
Beautiful. Hershe, Betsy, what do you have coming up?
I turned my phone off, so I don't have my calendar in front of me. But I maybe have another one with you this month, or maybe not till next month. And Jonathan and I were talking about doing something at the end of the month. I think the last Wednesday. So check with Jonathan's channel on that one.
Yeah. Yeah, we are doing Channel Rama in April 16th.
April,
No, October.
October. Okay, there we go.
I forgot about
Okay, wait a minute.
Jonathan.
Somebody has a GI problem. My large hernia. Yes, yes. Okay,
And
sending the sparkles your way.
yes. And James, I'm going to be answering your email right after this. So, yeah. So tomorrow I have sweet and sour readings with Marina. And then I am interviewing, I have a casual with Diana, oil painter, also known as Wonder Woman, on Thursday. I've got a whole lot of stuff happening on Friday. I have Jan readings with Hershe, and then I am a guest with Jonathan, and then I am on Cool Crone. And then next Saturday through Thursday, I am taking a short vacation. That is when over that time, I am teaching my Color Confidence for Quilters class at a quilting shop. So I'm looking forward to that. And then Long Stash on the 30th readings. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you. So thank you, James, for being here. Christine is here. And so it's great seeing everybody here. So let's start with, okay. One of the things that I remember about silence is how people, are you familiar with the word om? And om is a Sanskrit symbol. So it actually doesn't necessarily have a spelling, but we oftentimes see it spelled as O-M or A-U-M amongst some of the variations. What's really interesting is if you actually sound this symbol out, you actually have silence at the end of it. So it's the A-O-M, and then there's silence, which is, did you know that? I find that fascinating, and it really, it's just an interesting thing, and it's one of those things that it's like, it just makes me go, I like how that is included in the pronunciation of the word, because the silence is there for a reason. Now, that being said, do either of you have an idea? I mean, what do you think about this idea?
The idea of the symbol?
The idea of the symbol and it including a silence at the end of the pronunciation.
Yeah, it's reinforcing an action to follow the intention, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the whole intention is for that peace and serenity, and your intention is to call that to you, and the actual thing that you're trying to create is included in it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it's like I'm seeing an Ouroboros, that it is all encompassing. It
Mm-hmm.
lives within itself. Yeah. Powerful to me.
Yeah. Any thoughts on this, Hershe?
Didn't know until backstage. I had no idea. First time I've heard of it. I've heard the word for years and years, obviously. But I didn't know like this right here, So
yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of cool. I like it. I don't know if I really have anything like.
It's okay.
I don't know if it's like gonna, change any major factors in my life,
No,
but it is definitely cool
to.
information because I mean it's silence with an intention. I do appreciate that part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One thing for me is that it reminds me that silence can be an integral part of anything, and it needs to be there. So the first question that I have is, what is silence for you?
And I think this is the perfect time for you to pop up Hypnicity's comment.
This
Because
one that
I
says,
think this
aha.
is an amazing thing to have discovered.
Mm-hmm. Aha, just hit me. My dad used to give us the silent treatment. I like being alone, but it's seldom in silence.
If you were conditioned to believe silence as a punishment, that is huge.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It's very true. Very true. I also think when you learn to sit in silence, the younger you do that, the easier it is to continue to do whilst being an adult.
Yeah.
So, but
So
yeah,
please pop up your prompt again, Gerald.
of course.
I just got so interested in Nolani's comment.
It's insightful. Yeah. So, what is silence for you? And let me say this. Silence can have a lot of variety for people. Sometimes for them, silence is not speaking. Sometimes it's being in a room by themselves when there's no TV or electronic devices or electric devices. So I'm just curious, what is silence for you?
Well, for me, I'll go. For me, silence is a place of refuge. Um, Interestingly enough, last night we had a power outage here on Maui in my neighborhood, not all island, just my neighborhood. And it was about 2 hours. It was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. It was so peaceful and so quiet. And I just felt so present in the moment. So for me, silence is being really fully present in the moment. It is for me where I connect to my higher self. Not necessarily seeking the input from other guides, not that I prevent it, but it's really time for me to rejoin myself.
Yeah.
Wow. And of course, the minute I said that, there goes the leaf blower. Okay, hold on. I'm going to mute and I'm going to blank. You guys carry on.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Hershe, what's silence for you?
It's a lot of things. It's everything. It's nothing. It's healing. It was punishment. It was torture. It was serene when I found it in a healing way. It was hurtful when I found it in a way of discipline or punishment.
Yes.
It was excruciatingly painful when I couldn't get anyone to listen to me. In moments where now I meditate, sometimes it's complete silence. I mean, there's not even a thought in my head. It's nothing. It's literally like a flat lined. I can go that silent. And I don't think there's anything better. I used to believe in awkward moments, and now I don't believe in them anymore. I believe that it's a test. I believe that some people can walk a tightrope, and I believe that some people can't. I believe that some people can endure silence for all of it, no matter how they are experiencing it. And I believe some people can't. So I don't think that it's something that comes lightly or easily, depending on the individual and whatever their path is and how they have to interact with silence. I don't think there's an easy answer for silence. I think it's too big and too loud to be small and contained simply.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. You know, that idea of silence is deafening. Very interesting. I want to get caught up in chat. Is Rossi said silence can be an answer? Yes. Silence should never be viewed as weakness at all.
But it has. It has, though.
Yes, but it's wrong. They're wrong. How's that? People are wrong when that happens. So, and Jonathan said, I always know someone is a true friend if we can just sit in silence together without feeling the need to fill the space with chatter. Simply being. Absolutely correct. Yeah. If you can just sit and be comfortable in that silence, it's very, very, very exciting. Linda Bishop has said, I need to be alone with my own self, my own thoughts, and my animals. I stand in my truth and don't really have a need to have my thinking interrupted. So, and Rossi said there is a lot of noise pollution in modern life. There is a nice low vibrations and annoying high-pitched machines. So, and Maru said, I know I comment a lot here, but it's because I'm alone 95% of the time. Well, see, and with that is being alone doesn't mean that it's silent, because I am a person who, yes, Hershe?
No,
You
wait,
got your-
no. Miles. Absolutely. He's agreeing with you, Gerald. Just because you're alone doesn't mean it's silent. He's agreeing.
Yes.
It was just funny the way he said it. Apologies for laughing out loud.
No. We're cool. And James said, I really got quiet the mind a couple of years ago. I have been doing some Buddhist reading and joining some Buddhist sit groups. It's really hard to quiet the mind. For me, it's very, very challenging. So, and being alone does not equate to being lonely. Correct. And since 2020 happened, I have proven myself to have the ability to be alone and to be okay. I'm a hardcore extrovert. So, Spiritual Rain is here and said, I think silence is bliss. When I'm alone and when I was living with someone who gave me the silent treatment, it became distress. Yeah. So,
There really is a big difference between that peaceful, silent serenity within yourself and silence in public or around other people. There is a really, really big difference there.
yes. Did you have something else to add about silence, Betsy?
No, it'll come. We're just beginning.
Okay. So, why is silence important? Why do you think silence is important? Hershe, I'm going to ask you first.
I mean, I don't know how out of touch I am with a lot of parts of me until I realize, different parts of me receive it differently. So I have to do quite a bit in silence. So I don't know. I'd have to say that it's important to me because my overall mental health needs it the most. Like, I have a lot of metal in my brain and in the back of my neck and drains and stuff like that. And I just need it. I don't like to blame the metal part of me, but that metal doesn't need a lot of noise. It doesn't need a lot of overthinking. It doesn't need a lot of overstimulating, so to speak. That metal just does one job consistently, and there's a rhythm to it sometimes. So I find it's important to find that spot to let healing, come into the body. Because for me, if you put it in your mind first, it builds cells. It gives cells a chance to regenerate their own self in the silence to heal the body. So I think it's very important. Lots of different ways.
Yeah. Nalani said, I know many people who simply never shut up. Maybe they spend a lot of time alone. Actually, no, I am one of those people who used to spend a lot of time talking without saying a whole lot. I've learned in the last 10 to 12 years how not to do that and to be okay with that. Jonathan shared, you need silence to calm the mind so you can be open to receive messages from your guides. Mm-hmm. Rain said, it's so important because it calms us. It helps us think. It quiets the hamster wheel in our heads. It also helps us to be mindful in the moment. For me, it's so important. Beth, hello, said, silence also calms the body. A calm body is healthier. Good. Yeah, that's great. And Thomas said, I love when a talkative person tries to give the silent treatment and they keep commenting and just can't stop. I laughed to myself. Yes. Why is silence important to you, Betsy?
It gets me into the present moment. I had formerly been a high anxiety person. I'm not quite that same person anymore. So I was always worried about just a big, wide ranging, generalized anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
So it gets me in the moment and helps me to tap into the evidence that I'm here, I'm fine, I'm safe, life is good, I have a lot to be thankful for. And it helps me really be present with the truth of what is instead of contemplating past or future or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
that is, and also, yeah, what Jonathan was talking about, being in touch with the guides, meditation. My first connection to channeling was through in a psychic development class in the 80s about automatic writing. My first experience with it, and we were led to it through a meditation of getting still, getting quiet, and then asking for information. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's always been a powerful tool for me for connecting with my intuitive abilities.
Yeah, that's great. Silence is important for me because oftentimes that's where the magic happens. It's where the unexpected shows up because there's no expectations in that silence. Suddenly, a brainstorm shows up, the best idea, the best problem that's solved, even when I wasn't thinking about it. It's like, what? And butterflies are free is here. Hello, butterflies. One of the other things is that I'm going to hang on. I want to remove this. I'm going to go ahead and put this up. How are you embracing silence in your life? I want to go first on this because I struggle so freaking hard with embracing silence because there's always I've been thinking about this for the last. I mean, this show came up because of a conversation I was having with Linda de Gonzalez, and it was like, ooh, silence came up as an important thing, and I'm doing a show on that. It's coming, because I always have some background noise going. I always have a fan. It's the, what do they call it? Ambient noise. Or I'm washing dishes, but I'm also watching YouTube or I'm watching a video. I'm never just washing dishes. So I have dissipated my energy. It's like the old computers it's like computers and RAM. When I've got all of these programs going on the back, the program that I have open never operates to its fullest ability because I'm thinking about other stuff. So I struggle with it. And for a long time, I was doing meditations, daily meditations for 20 minutes with some chanting. And to this day, I cannot close my eyes in a meditation when you're supposed to be silent and not go into that chant because it's so ingrained. So I struggle with it.
Okay, so let me pose this thought. How many people do this or know of others who have done this or have heard many people mention that their best time to meditate is when they're driving? Very,
Oh, yeah.
very
There's
common.
lots of things like that. Yes, it's very common.
Okay. I propose, because I do the same things that you do, Gerald, have some background noise. Part of that for me was just that I spend a lot of time alone, and sometimes it's just, like your emotional support noise. Um, but I think for the mind that is going at high speed, clickety, 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 having a few open windows actually can get a certain portion, a certain type of your consciousness into a more quiet space, because there's things going on that are taking up some room. And so you're not clickety, 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 clickety.
It's true.
And I kind of feel like there's an element of freeing up space for not overthinking, not over processing, not over worrying in those times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So, right. So when you're driving, thank goodness for muscle memory, because your muscles remember how to respond to the roadway. And so your conscious mind can go to a different place. And absolutely, I think the part of your mind that likes to twirl and click is now occupied with the task it knows it can complete, and it frees up space for other possibilities. That's just what I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, Gerald, when you're doing that, when you're doing the dishes and YouTube is on, do you ever ask your guides any questions?
No, because I'm bouncing between the two.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not giving anything my full attention. So
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, embracing the silence would be giving my full attention to one thing. But I did when I was in college and making lots of artwork. There was always music playing in the background, and surprising, it had to be 80s pop music or synth pop. It was never classical music. I had to have words because it was a rhythm. And so
Okay, so somebody's guides are telling me that you just need to redefine what silence is for you. That the
that makes
why
sense.
why you're, because you say you struggle with it, and the reason you're struggling is your definition.
Good point. Thank
It's
you.
not it's not my point. Sorry, guys. I'm not that smart. It's somebody else's point. Somebody else is saying that's your own definition is the struggle.
Okay. Yeah. So how are you embracing silence in your life, Hershey?
I think it's more like, how am I not? I mean,
Hershey, how are you not embracing silence in your life?
and when it comes to anger, I am struggling in the anger temper kind of range. It's at that moment that I absolutely have no control over the silence that my brain desperately needs, and I instead bounce to a place that is not very friendly or very positive. So that's probably the only place that I don't have silence yet, and I'm struggling with. So I guess, I mean, pretty much everything else, I literally can put silence right in. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I got a lot of metal in my head. I got like 82 coils, and I got almost 4 pounds of metal in my brain. I have no idea. I'm sure there is a scientific reason it's happening, because I do believe that there's a psychological approach to silence when it comes to the brain. So I think it enriches a whole lot of things in your life. And once you learn to put it there, except for anger for me. I'm struggling with
Okay.
it when it comes to anger.
And I thank you for being honest with that.
Hmm?
That's part of why I like doing shows like this. And it's like I'm struggling with it because I
Absolutely.
have difficulty with it.
Right.
Um,
No, I'm human. I'm not a robot yet. I do struggle with it.
there you go. Betsy, what about you? How are you embracing the silence?
Um, so I had to walk through an extended journey about loneliness and aloneness and the difference, and my desire for connection and being included in a tribe, and the reality of being a loner. So how I am embracing silence is, again, the evidence. My head can say what it wants. My heart can have a longing for something, but the evidence and the truth is that I do spend a lot of time alone. And what is the gift in that? And so I have been looking, I approach it from what gifts and opportunities can this bring me, instead of why am I here? I'm here for a reason, and to use my time to understand myself and my goals better. So time and silence allows me, and again, I'm a Leo. It allows me the time to understand myself at a deeper level and appreciate my strengths from that understanding.
Yeah. Okay. There are some amazing comments in the chat, and I want to get caught up with what people have said. So, in Buddhism, a busy mind is called a drunken monkey mind. Lots of thoughts going nowhere. They also attribute an undisciplined mind to a mischievous monkey. That's a good word, isn't it? Mischievous.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I was thinking monkey.
you like monkey, mischievous monkey? I'm going to send you a monkey. Nalani said it's where creation starts for me in that silence.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the psychological approach. I love it.
Yes. Rain said, I used to find silence deafening. I had white noise too. Then I moved to the mountains and silence was forced on me. I can go outside and just look at the sky and not hear anything but silence.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful. That sounds like music to my ears.
Mm-hmm. Gerald, you're what? The 12th child? Maybe when you were a baby, you continually heard noise. Perhaps background noise soothes you. Could be. Could be. And Rossi said, I grew up in New York City or NYC and have always had background noise while doing things. Linda said, Gerald, you sound like a mother. We can't get everything done unless we do 2 or 3 things or more at once. Beth said, I go deep into thought when my hands are wet, either in the shower or washing dishes. It activates my mind.
Ooh.
Very
Love
interesting.
that.
Yes.
Love that.
Yes. And Rain said, I think the pivotal point in my life regarding silence was after I burned out. After burnout, I couldn't handle any kind of noise, including music. It seemed too noisy for me, and I found silence. So, and Art said, the music is so interesting. I do that. I think people in my past have made me feel guilt for not being in silence. I'm sorry that happened. Kaylee said, I just can't sit in silence if I'm in my house. Need at least solfeggio music playing to stop the running thoughts. But I can sit outside with nothing, and it can be silence. Nature is her silence.
Nice.
Yes. I think a lot of people will agree with that, because when I mentioned this before, people were talking about, silence is great, especially when it's the birds and the environment and the nature is providing the soundtrack. Pamela Batchelor is silence to me is not an isolation chamber. Silence is being quiet in myself and listening to what sounds good on around me. The wind, the birds, the sound of my footsteps. Silence is peace for me. That's well said.
I agree.
Yeah. Yes. True silence can be very scary. It's that idea of the reticular activating system. I don't know if Betsy, you just had this happen, but I'm usually always have a fan on something around, and if the power goes out, it's silent. I immediately wake up. It's like, what? So I don't think we are in true silence. Working alone in the woods is not silent. Trees, winds, water, animals are present. It's just silent of human noise. That's interesting. So embracing moments of silence because my life was full of other people making lots of noise, like my son and his friends running around and screaming. Yep. Yes, Art. Even the womb is not completely silent. We develop with our mother's heartbeat. Yeah. Rain's like, I freaking love it when the power goes out.
It was really nice last night. It was lovely.
Yeah. But here you go. But nature isn't really silent. Leaves rustling, etc. I used to be I used to hot air balloon. The silence in the air in a balloon is amazing. There was a period in my life when I listened to a cassette. Now, kids, cassettes are small things that had tape inside of them that you would put into this machine, and you would press a button and sound would come out of it. The sound was embedded on that little plastic there. I had a soundtrack. It was called Wind of the Trees, and it was just like listening to a fall day. When I was a new manager and I couldn't sleep, I would put that on and it would lull me to sleep. So
I remember I had a cassette in the 80s too that was some kind of, I'd never heard anything about it. I found it at a metaphysical store. Oh man, I love that thing.
Yep. And Marita said, my body is very affected by loud vibration. It actually makes me feel ill, gives me a stomachache. Wow. Yes, and here you go. Cassettes, kids, if they got stuck, you could take a pencil and roll the cassette tape back. Yes, but it had to have ridges on it. It had to be one of those yellow things. So, all right. So before I go to the next question, I want to do this.
This section of the video is brought to you by the word silence. Everyone say it with me. Silence. Silence. Absence of sound or noise. Stillness.
Bit of silence there, kids. Yep.
Nicely done.
Well, thank you. Pamela brings up a really beautiful point. Thank you, Pamela. We're in the territory of distinguishing between silence and quiet. I actually don't like total silence. Yes, Hershe?
I've been on the other side. Everybody pretty much knows that I died and I came back. There's nothing over there. Everything over there there's no sound. There's no wind. There's no trees rustling. There's no tree branches crackling under your feet. No gravel shaking your feet. There's a huge difference between silence and quiet. And yeah, I 100% agree with what Pamela is saying. But I also agree that there's no such way to get total silence, because even just sitting here, I could still hear all the noise outside. I could still hear the neighbors. I could still hear stuff going on upstairs. So yeah, I think I'm seeing it a little differently now. What I thought was quiet, now that I'm recognizing, well, there was nothing on the other side. Nothing. You don't have a mouth. You can't talk. You don't have ears. You can't hear. You don't have eyes. You can't see. It's just everything through your mind, right? Everything is done through your mind. Yeah. I think I agree with that. I like that. And I've been in a hot air balloon. It's wonderful.
Yeah. And breathing is our noise. And here's why I enjoy these conversations. These comments that the best chatters are making really are helping us broaden our understanding of it. We don't have to agree with what the other one is saying. We're broadening our understanding. And breathing is a noise, yes. And we still hear our own heartbeat, yes. And so it's really, really it's really powerful. So
Well, instead of the word silence, when I'm doing whatever that time is, I actually refer to it as stillness. So
okay.
for me, that's a workaround for where we are now with this. What is silence and what is quiet? It's not really silence. All that, kind of dividing things up, cutting the pie up in little tiny pieces. For me, I just use the prompt of stillness, and I'll tell people that I work with that are trying to learn about connecting with their guides to go to a place of stillness, whatever that is for them, and remove the definition from it so much. Let it be a little more innate, I guess. It seems to work well for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And Rain is talking about, I define being outside at night as silence, but it's just quiet. Because eventually I'll hear coyotes, howling, or the wind in the trees. And quiet. Yes. So wait a minute. Can we ever achieve total silence while living? Good question. So maybe it's peace we're truly looking for. I really like the word stillness.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to what Maritza said, I have noisy neighbors. So when I go to Tanis's place, because of all her crystals, etc., it's actually quiet, and I feel my entire body and mind just relax.
Yeah.
Overstimulation.
Yeah. And then there's that.
Yep. And the rhythmic noises are so different from erratic noises, sudden noises being the worst. Yeah. Are you all right there, Hershe?
Mm-hmm.
She had a fan accident, and so I was concerned for the fan as well. So yeah, the sound after a snowfall. So yeah, stillness as the experience after a huge snowfall.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We are at about 43 minutes in, and I want to find out. I have oodles of questions. Like, I want to put this up because this was a question that Hershe put. Did you know you could be comfortable in silence? I would say 10 years ago, I would have said, you are absolutely crazy. No, that is not possible. Now, today, I would say I'm learning how to be comfortable in silence and quiet, especially with things, because, who knows what's going on in my brain, all of the stuff. And so silence to me does include that idea of that sense of stillness. Hershe, what did you want to say about this?
Well, considering I've been mind blown, I guess even in theory, talking with my guides as we are having this beautiful conversation, they keep elaborating on the fact that just stay in the state of mind of silence and learn to be comfortable in the silence. Like, I guess in fine tuning the word, yeah, I guess logically it would be impossible, right? Because you've got this, that, and the other making some kind of sound, right? I don't know. I think that it is a purpose to find silence. I hear everybody hearing a whole lot of noise when you say the word silence, and they want to put a whole lot of noise in place of the silence, including your own heartbeat. But I believe you can tune that out as well. I truly believe that the brain can tune it all out 1,000%. I know it's my opinion, but trust me, I can literally make my brain go silent and I do not hear my heartbeat. I do not hear all the sounds if I choose not to. I don't know if it's because I have a monk on my team and I go through and I channel him and I just literally go to a place where I'm literally floating in the air and there's nothing. I don't know. But I truly do believe in my mind that I go to a place of silence and I am very, very comfortable with it. But I didn't used to be. So I don't know. At this point, I'm a little questionative, but I do still believe in silence, and I'm completely comfortable with it.
Yeah. Thoughts on this, Betsy?
Yeah, I started noodling around with meditation and all of that kind of thing in my teens. So late 70s, guys, tells you where I am. And there's just something about the comfort of finding my center. So I think that is probably, as I'm reflecting on it, that's probably the overriding appeal to it, is coming to my center and being fully present in the moment. And what gets me there? Well, I mean, I can remember times driving down the highway at 90 miles an hour, screaming Led Zeppelin out through the sunroof and feeling kind of centered, silenced of the monkey mind, but not exactly completely centered in the moment, the freedom of the moment, but not centered. And it seems like sitting in stillness allows me to come to my center, and that is where I find all the goodies of everything that I'm looking for with this process.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thomas put this in the chat, and I find it interesting. It's part of what I was talking about. Some people are very uncomfortable when a conversation has a long pause.
Yeah.
Now,
the pregnant pause.
The pregnant pause. Well, one thing that I learned about myself is when I spoke 15 years ago, I spoke at a volume that was very high, and it made it exhausting for some people to hear what I was saying. I was doing training. I could train, an auditorium without a microphone. Does that tell you about my volume? Does that surprise anyone here? No.
Okay. Difference between volume and projection.
Correct. My projection was very pronounced, and I could do it for a long time. What I learned from a theater director, is people need to have a range. If you are delivering all your lines at a loud volume, everybody gets numb to that. But when we have variety in what we're saying and we allow the pause, it's very effective. You can get someone's attention by lowering your voice. It's equally effective as shouting. Sometimes it's even better than shouting, because we're also used to people shouting and trying to get other people's attentions. I remember actually doing some training, standing up in a group of 100 people and saying, I'd get up there and I'd stand and I would just stare at them, and then I would start talking like this. And I would continue talking like this. And then lo and behold, everybody adjusts. So I think there is an importance of range. And I mention that because range, how much noise, how much silence, how much stillness do we have in our lives? It 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 can be a variety, and it can still be very healthy and very effective. So, okay, I feel like I was just lecturing. I was getting on my soapbox, so apologies. But
No, I think that was really valuable information. Yeah, and people, I mean, there's a reason Ferris Bueller's Day Off is such a classic joke. Bueller, Bueller, the monotone. People tune it out, right? They lose any kind of interest. And then if you stop or if you change whatever, the down, up, down, quiet, loud, change up, and it gets people's attention.
mhm.
Or if you're talking and someone zones out, and if you just stop talking, you'll just see them. It's like 1, 2, 3. What? What?
Yes.
Yeah.
So silence can be part of our delivery. Yes, delivery tact and calm voice attracts the same with most people, of course. Lecture away, Gerald. Insights are gold. Well, thank you. And by the way, Morella is here, as is Kiba. So Kiba Lyons has arrived. It's great to see everybody. So, what thoughts do either of you have about silence and being comfortable with silence or anything else? I'm going to open the floor to you and your guides as needed. Linda Kennedy is here. And and Jane said, somebody tell my mom that. I mean, I can send you a voice memo. So what thoughts do you have about silence?
I don't know. I don't know if I have any thoughts about it. I don't think it's easy, but I think it's worth it. I think it takes a lot of control. And it takes a lot of letting go of control. Trying to hold control and let go of control. That's like telling somebody to literally let go of everything, but then focus on something else. While they're trying to let go of everything and focus on, just one thing. I don't know. I don't know if there is any like Hersheisms or whatever for this one. I don't know. I don't know if I have any. I just know that it's worth it, and it's
Worth it.
incredibly hard work. I know that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Betsy, any thoughts?
Yeah. So I think for me, stillness is a path of personal growth, and exploring silence in personal relationships is a really different path for me.
Mm-hmm.
Personal relationships and public relationships. I mean, I know I have struggled with party scenarios or being out with groups of people and saying not enough or saying too much, or just being able to be really authentic with people in conversation. And if a conversation starts to kind of go down an uncomfortable space, how to be okay with allowing it to rest there and not filling in all those anxiety gaps with just senseless explanations and excuses and defenses. So I think it's just really different paths for me.
Mm-hmm.
My time in silence and stillness for myself is like a dreamscape. But it's just really different in public for me.
I understand that. I am I'm inviting people to share your thoughts about silence after this conversation. I was getting a haircut today, and I was talking to my hairstylist. I was doing this show about silence. So she is in a service industry, and we were chatting about it. And I asked her. I said, why do you think people are uncomfortable with silence? And she gave really great thought. She said, people are not comfortable in silence because they don't like having to think about themselves or the actions that they have taken. Silence means that there's nothing interfering with me and seeing me. It's like, interesting. So, but yeah. I can't tell you, shh, Jane said.
I think there's a lot to be said for that statement. I think a lot of the chatter, the noise, and just the kind of I don't want to say meaningless, but not really productive noise around us can be just simply to silence that cry, the void within us for people that are struggling within themselves. It can be just a distraction so you don't go down there. That was really a truthful thing for me to hear. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Rain said, silence in relationships is tricky. What we want isn't necessarily what the others are able to accept and be comfortable with. I have an interesting story about that because Jeffrey is an introvert and I'm an extrovert. And I asked him a question and he didn't say anything. And holy crap, it made me wriggle. And it's like, and I finally said, what are you doing? He's like thinking about the question you asked me. And I went, oh, gee, I should probably give him some time to do that without me looking over his shoulder and keep asking him questions. It was a really good thing. Morella said, never truly silent. And Jane said, I'm appreciating this live without the excess Fox junk going on. Finding comfort in silence is an important skill, and not everyone is willing to learn it. But if you find comfort in silence, that you can find comfort anywhere. Then you can find comfort. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I believe that wholeheartedly. I think that's pretty much what I've been saying. Like, it's mind over matter. And if I want it to be silent, I will tune it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jane the Seeker says, Tara, I hear that, Betsy.
Well, I love the old country saying, better to keep your mouth shut and let people wonder if you're stupid than open your mouth and remove all doubt.
Correct. It's easier to shut our mouths than it is to quiet our minds. The silence I love is wind and moving water, but these aren't really silent. It's the peace and quiet I love.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It seems like a lot of us are talking about coming back to ourselves with quietness.
Yes.
Coming back to ourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and yes, that I think is a really good thing, because it allows us to be it allows us to see ourselves as we are right now. And Beth said,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I'm going to add, it seems like silence is much more available to me in the aging process. When I was young and not really understanding the way I worked and the world worked, silence was not as comfortable for me because I just had so many questions and I had so much anxiety about things. It just, as I age and become more self-accepting, the silence is a comfort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. To silence your mind, remove your tongue from the roof of your mouth. To silence your mind, remove the tongue from the roof of your mouth.
I swear Confucius says that all the time. Or something very similar to that.
Oh, I thought you touched your tongue to the roof of your mouth to complete your connection.
I don't know. I don't know if it's that way or the way you're saying it, but I swear to God, I hear Confucius say it all the time or something, and it's just like, what? That to me, my brain doesn't get it, but I don't know. It's like I think I've heard that before. It's like you have to actually create the separation, you have to put the distance there. I think, if I understand it correctly. I don't know. It could be the
I
opposite
know
way.
if you want to try to get yourself to not yawn, you put your tongue to the top of your mouth. So. So, like entering the Cathedral of the Redwoods. That is wonderment. Yes, that really is. Yeah. Jonathan can't remember a time he wasn't comfortable in silence. So, but thank you, everybody, for being here. This was great. I do appreciate everybody. No, that is self-talk. With your tongue is touching the roof of your mouth, you are talking to yourself. Removing it removes the self-talk. So there you go. Okay. So I want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you, my amazing guest, whose links are in the description below. And this has been great. We have Hershe and Medium Betsy Palmer. I'm Tarot Stash. Thank you for being here. As soon as we're done with the live, we're going to figure out the next time we can do a live together. And we hope you will all be willing to join us. Everyone take care, and thank you for being amazing.